Hello everyone, my name is Cheese, and today we are going to be doing part 2 of my Amazing World of Gumball Season 2 episode ranking. Yeah, so this is part 2. I will link part 1 up in the cards and in the description box, so if you want to know how we got here, then please check that out if you haven't already, because I will be building upon part 1, which was episodes 1 through 20, and today we are going to be covering episodes 21 through 40. So, I'm not gonna do the whole thing, besides, this is just my opinion, so please don't attack me, but we're just gonna get right into this. Okay, so before we begin, I want to mention something new to this video that is different from the last one. Because I have added a new tier. The med tier. Okay? We'll get into that, but I realized that we needed to add a new tier to this chart. So that's gonna be interesting. But, okay, first off, we have something I really do quite enjoy, which is the pony. I must say, first off, the actual movie they were gonna watch, like, the DVD that this episode is surrounded by, I know it's My Little Pony, like, I know that's what it's a parody of, but I gotta fucking know, what generation are we talking about? Because the way I vibed it by the way they were reacting to it and considering when this was written, I'm thinking it's gotta be like either G3 or G3.5, okay? That's the vibe of it, but that doesn't matter to anyone here because I'm a pony person. This matters to me. But this was a fun episode, I must say. Because this whole concept of Gumball and Darwin doing everything in their power to go home to Anais to watch this movie with her, but the universe does everything to prevent them from doing that thing. And shenanigans ensue, of course. And I must say, my favorite part about this is the sibling love dynamic. Because although Gumball and Darwin really don't want to watch My Little Pony with Anais, it's like they understand that not doing this for her is gonna like hurt her feelings and stuff, because like that's like their whole motivation is that Anais is like bitching at them over the phone over like, hurry up, you're late. And that it's like we have like the direct pressure of Anais like nagging them, for lack of a better term, and them just wanting to be good brothers to their little sister, and it is so cute. Like, this is a cute episode, despite all the craziness that happens, because I must say, this caught me so off guard. Like, I forgot this episode was what they were gonna do it in, but this is when they first introduced the Rob plot. Oh my god. I knew this was coming, I just forgot it was in this episode, because there is a portion of the main plot where, as Gumball and Darwin are like trying to run home, they run into Rob, who this is the first time we see his updated design from season 1. And when they bump into them, they can't remember his name. It's like, and they're like, "Hey, buddy." And then Rob's like, "Do you remember my name?" And they're like, of course, as we all know, say everything but Rob, and he gets really pissed off. And this particularly killed me, because it's been a while since I've like revisited this scene in particular, but the fact that Darwin kicked Rob down a manhole, okay, let's just unpack that for a sec, because I'll be talking about this a lot in this video, but like the bitch-ass Darwin trope they have in season 2 specifically is healing to my soul, honestly, because it was Darwin who was the one that kicked him down the manhole. So it's basically Darwin's fucking fault that all the Rob shit happened, because I don't think Rob would have been as vengeful towards them if they didn't kick him down the manhole. Like, I feel like you can kind of forgive them for forgetting your name once, but like actively like causing harm to you is actually crazy. So basically, we can blame Darwin for starting Rob's villain arc, and I'm like, God damn it, that's some good shit right there. It's like, he doesn't, like, Darwin does not give a fuck. He was just like, pew, and then Gumball's like, dude, what are you doing? And he's just like, oh. It's like, oh my god. But another part of the whole, like, shenanigans segment that I really liked was Carrie, because I knew she was in this episode when she was the one that had to check out the DVD for them because the force of the universe will not allow them to rent out this movie because it's too girly pop or whatever. So Carrie does it for them, and of course, the fake out we get is when they finally catch the DVD. It is not the right movie. And they're like, ah, fuck. What are we supposed to do now? So they go back to Carrie's house to find her watching My Little Pony on her TV. And she's like, really so bad for a punk rock chick like me to enjoy the beautiful friendship of a pony, or something like that. It's like, the thing is, this reminds me too much of like when I was like 13 and 14, so it's like, you know what? We've all fucking been there, bro. Oh boy. But her being moved by My Little Pony as edgy little emo girl is the universal experience, to be quite honest. But the one thing I didn't really understand was like why Darwin was being an asshole to Carrie. Like, there's like a few instances in season 2 specifically where he's like kind of aggressive towards Carrie, despite kissing her in Halloween, if we remember. I'm thinking of like the words specifically, but this is like a reoccurring thing where Darwin will just say something really fucking mean to Carrie, like, we don't have time to look around at Carrie's freak show of a family. I think that's what he said. And I'm just like, I thought you liked her, bro. Why are you being such a dick? But anyway, I think like I just think in general this episode is very well executed because while everyone they meet along the way, they eventually run back to in the climax where they're like backtracking the DVD, and I just think it's fun. Like when it like whether it's Rob or Sussy, I love the Sussy bit, her birthday party. That was so much fun. Whether it's like Rob or Sussy or that guy that got stuck in the manhole to begin with, it's like I like how that's kind of like a full circle moment. So it's like it's not just shit happening just for shit to happen. It's like it actually does mean something in retrospect. Especially with the Rob thing, it's like that really means something in retrospect because oh my god. And this specific bit that I liked when they come back to I think it was like the construction worker who was working on the manhole, and when he gets crushed by the guy that was jogging, he's like, "Oh, please help me," and then Gumball's like, "I don't know. You seem to be way closer to him, like like how he did it the first time to them." There's just so many good bits in this episode that it's just like, oh my god. But I also thought it was like funny because the fake out ending is like when they actually get home to watch the movie of Anais and they apologize and everything. She's like, actually, this movie's ass, and they're like, oh my god, thank you. It's like, you know what? Yeah. So this was a lot of fun. So I think I have it where it's here. I forgot to position this correctly, so minor adjustment there. But I do really like this episode. But maybe not as much as like ones like further up the list, but yeah, it's definitely a hell yeah for me, but I'm gonna put it here for right now. But I do really like this episode. Alright, and then a hero comes along with the strength to carry on. No shit. We already getting into some of this crap. Okay. I even knew beforehand that this episode was not well liked. Like, anytime I see discussions on, like, what's the worst episodes of Gumball, the hero is brought up most of the time. And I must say, when I was younger watching the show, I didn't particularly had it out for this episode, but, upon rewatching it, I'm like, wait a minute. Because the thing is, I'm not putting. This isn't bad, I must say. Like, we have bigger fish to fry than this thing. Which is why I made the mat tier, because it's like. I don't completely hate it. Like, I really don't. Like, there's enough in it that's good that makes me not crash out. But there's, like, enough wrong with it that I'm, like, side eyeing it, okay? Because let me tell you what I think about this. Is that I think it's questionable, but it's not the worst thing that they ever put out. So, as we know, this episode revolves around Gumball and Darwin not appreciating Richard as a father, which causes some bad shit to happen. And I think obviously the biggest complaint about this is like, it's not even that this plot can't work. Because I will fully admit that, well, first off, when the inciting incident happened, it's not like they were actively being cruel towards Richard in the playground. Like, they were saying things about him with, like, I guess pure intentions. Because when Gumball's like, well, he's good at being nice. And it's like, oh. But it's like, at first they're not being that rude about it. It's just like a little too brutally honest. And of course, if Richard wasn't standing on the other side of the fence, this would have never happened. Like, all the shit that would come afterwards. But I think what becomes the issue, at least what I felt, is basically Gumball being cruel for like 3/4 of this episode. Because my biggest complaint is that Gumball is just too fucking mean towards Richard specifically. I am thinking about the dumpster scene when they're at the dump yard and they're about to die when they have the car in the magnet. Like, that whole, like, the whole climax bit. And Gumball is still, like, egging on Richard as he's trying to help them while they're in, like, this life or death situation. Like, he's continuing to be, like, mean, sarcastic towards him when the situation simply doesn't warrant it. Because we have to think, would Gumball do this? Yes, but to a certain extent. I would even excuse the scene when they're about to approach Richard while they see him in the shed to apologize, and then Gumball's just like, nah, I can't do this, laughs, and walks away. That's a kind of a brutal bit, but I don't think it's completely out of the question for him to do that. But I think him doing that in the dumpster scene is just, it's out of character in a way I don't like. Because I think I need to emphasize that Gumball Watterson is a lot of things, okay? He's a dick. He's a dick most of the time. He admits that he's a jerk and an asshole, a little shithead, everything. He does things out of spite. He does things when he knows damn well he shouldn't be. But he's not a cruel person, okay? He will have his heart out when the situation demands it. And I feel like the way they wrote him in that specific scene is just not what should have happened. I mean, I think Darwin was the only one that was acting normally, because the thing is, I noticed in this season that Darwin just has a lot of bad fucking ideas. We will get into some instances of that later. But whenever you give Darwin agency to, like, solve a problem, it's just actually shocking. We will get into that, but like, oh, we'll have Mr. Dad save us from getting dropped into the crusher in the dumpster for him to feel like a hero again. It's like, brother, what are you doing? And obviously Gumball's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? You're gonna get us all killed because you think Richard's gonna be able to help us? And then Darwin's like, no, you gotta have faith in him, please. And then they almost fucking die. But I must say that my favorite scene in this episode is the very end, where when Gumball's about to jump across the crusher to get to Richard to safety, and like kind of they like flash back to him taking his first steps. It's like, that was cute, that was wholesome, that is finally the moment that Gumball basically snaps out of his bitch assness, for lack of a better term, and actually appreciates Richard. Which I like. Should it have taken us this long for him to figure that out? I don't think so. But the fact that it happened is nice. But besides Gumball being too much of an asshole for his own good, I will also have to criticize Nicole and Anais too, because again, I don't think they would do this over this type of situation. It's called they gotten away with a lot worse in the past. Because if it takes them to insult Richard, which they do on a daily fucking basis, by the way, and it's this time that Nicole's like, actually, fuck you, we're gonna neglect you because we're not gonna feed you or let you use our running water. It's like, since you clearly don't appreciate your parents, we're not gonna provide for you at all. It's like, you do realize they have multiple criminal charges pitted up against them, and this is, in the one time they say something mean, is the time you're gonna do that. It's like, I'm not saying that type of punishment's ever warranted, but can we be so fucking honest here? Anyway, it's just cruel and unusual, to be quite honest, and I don't particularly like it. Yeah, it's just like, it's not funny. It's just not. Like, the thing is, like, there's nothing about this episode that's, like, funny. It's just kind of either kind of uncomfortable or just baffling in not a good way, and I'm just like, again, this isn't all bad, because, like, there are some parts of it that I like. Like, I like how Darwin acts, for the most part. But it's just like, I don't know. I don't think it's the worst thing ever, but I just don't really like it either. It's just kind of So it's just gonna be kind of I don't think that's an unpopular opinion. Next. Okay, here we go. The dream. Okay. I have thoughts about this as well. Because the thing is, it's like, this one hurts a little bit because I think I liked it more when I was younger than I do right now. But I think it's just because I thought about it more. So, this whole thing about Gumball has a dream that Darwin was kissing Penny, so he has beef with him in real life over something he did in the dream, and he simply can't let it go. And he's, like, being aggressive towards Darwin and Penny because of it. Usually if this is like a pen pal episode, I'd be like, yum yum yum, but it's like, what are we doing here? That's what I want to know. Is what the fuck are we doing here? I'm not even saying that this is unplausible for Gumball to do, okay? Would he get jealous like this over a dream like this, over his brother kissing this girl he's been crushing over for a long time? That's not out of the question. But would have taken it to this extremes warrants itself a whole episode? I don't think so. Because the thing is, it's like, it could just be him being petty. Being like, why'd you steal my girl? And then Darwin's like, you realize that's not real, man. And he's like, maybe you're right. Maybe I am overreacting. It's like, this type of thing should just be like a quick, easy, breezy situation to get out of by just apologizing and having enough brain cells to click together, but you know. it's the fact that Gumball's like being hostile towards Darwin and Penny in real life because of the shit that never happened, and I'm just like, I don't particularly like to see that because the whole cupcake scene. Okay, we just need to let's take a look at the cupcake scene because this is what I don't like. Is that Gumball has, of course, the blue and orange cupcakes that he's trying to offer Penny as like a subliminal test to see who she likes better, Gumball or Darwin. And then when she wants the orange cupcake, Gumball gets aggressive about it because he thinks it means that she's choosing Darwin over him. And when he starts being aggressive towards her and like basically shoves the blueberry cupcake down her throat and she gets the allergic reaction from it, and then he's like, "Oh fuck. What did I do?" It's like it just hurts to see, quite honestly. I really don't like that scene. Like, I really don't. Because the thing is, why would he. Again, mind you, this shit never happened. I could possibly excuse it if it was like Darwin actually did that. Then he could go beat his ass. I don't care. But the fact that this never happened and he's like causing physical harm onto Penny because of it is just like it hurts my pinball soul, quite honestly. Cause he literally gives her like an allergic reaction, and even like the meds she takes to help it, he gets pissed that the pills are orange too. It's like, dude, can you please get a fucking grip? I mean, to be fair, I think Penny being allergic to blueberries comes up more than once in the series, so I guess this covers that. But it's just like, no, I'm all fucking set, to be honest. But I will say that what I do enjoy about this episode that's gonna make me not hate it as much as I otherwise would have is the whole sequence when they are trying to go back into Gumball's dream to fix the situation so that Gumball will stop being mad at Darwin. It's like, I think a simple apology and some common sense could have helped you there, bud, but I guess we can do some of this as well. But I did enjoy that sequence. Like, it kind of saves this episode where like they go in the dreams, like when they're like flies that are trying to get swat at, or being naked in the mall scene. Okay, one thing I must say about being naked in the mall that I found interesting. This is like 90% certainty, but I don't even know. Is this the only time where they use the black sensor boxes on them? Because this is the only time that I can recall that they actually use that. Because usually they just have the pixels. But this time they had like the black square that they were like fighting over. I don't know. I just thought that was notable because I don't remember them ever doing that. But you know what fucking killed me? Which I forgot this happened and I'm kind of sad that it passed me by. So the opening sequence of Gumball's dream, you know? And then the Richard Centaur like goes up to Gumball and like says something to him. And then Gumball's like, "Okay, Mr. President, I'll have it on your desk by the year 2025. How does it feel to be beyond the future now, folks? Oh my god. So 2025 minus 2012 when the episode came out made that was supposed to be like 13 years in the future. God damn it. Anyway, I thought that just gave me an existential crisis for a second, but you know what? I think that's cool as hell. But anyway, besides being sidetracked, I think this episode is just kinda. I must say that the ending is fine. Like, when to change the fate of the dream, Gumball makes Darwin kiss Sussy. Poor Sussy catching strays, but it's like, I don't I don't hate that because technically it got resolved in a way that doesn't really affect anyone personally, so it's like, okay. But I still don't like it that much, so it's just okay. But I must say, it is better than the hero because this pisses me off a little bit more. That's all I can say, but I don't know. I just looking back on it, I don't like this as much as I thought I did, which makes me kind of sad. But now I completely understand why I don't like it. All right, next, the sidekick. Oh, this is so good. Another Darwin-centered episode in this season that I absolutely love because I think of this pretty similar to the words, kind of, which you can see I ranked pretty highly, so you know how I feel about that. So, but I love this as like this is uh, it's the first direct introduction to Darwin's crisis about being a side character in life. This comes up more than once, and it was kind of explored in the words with how he wasn't that assertive and like how he was being too nice. Like the thing is, I think of these two episodes pretty similarly because they cover similar themes. But I will say up front that I like the words more than the sidekick, but I still very much love this episode. So, already just starting off with it, it's the opening bit of Tobias being a fucking flake and saying he's gonna promise to give Gumball and Darwin their video game back, but he never does. And they get so mad at him, but he's obviously just being a dick about it. And then Gumball's like, okay, Darwin, we gotta totally come up with this crazy plan to get our game back. And, like, he pitches his idea, and then Darwin's like, actually, can I please be the leader for once? I will say that this part of it I'm questioning a little bit because I don't know how much I like the transition into the main conflict. Because it doesn't, I don't know if it's just me, but it doesn't feel quite natural for just Darwin to outright say, like, can I be the leader for once? Or, like, the language, it's specifically the language they used. He just literally said, can I be the leader? It's like, it's a little too, I think it's a bit too self aware for the. I mean, Darwin is obviously aware of the fact that he feels like inferior in this dynamic. But I don't know. I feel like he could have even said something that's like, oh, can I make the plan? Or can I. Or I have an idea. How about we do this instead? Or stuff, stuff like that. It's just kind of a sticky thing, but besides that, it's actually a minor detail because it doesn't bother me too much. But Darwin just gets so angry about like feeling basically inferior in their relationship. Because it's like the doormat type of thing. Again, it's kind of like a Fluttershy type arc that he is going through, where it's like, again, similar to the words, because he was doing Fluttershy type shit in that episode too. But, he basically vents to Gumball about all the ways he feels. It's like, they do not see me as an individual. I am always your plus one, and I am not my own person to a lot of people. And I'm just like, oh my god. This episode hurt a little bit. Like, first, I feel so fucking bad for him because, ouch. But this whole thing about, like, being associated with somebody else so strongly that other people kind of forget that you are your own autonomous person. And basically, what struck a nerve for me, okay, just for me personally, is when Darwin was like, some people call me Gumball, or, like, Gumball's sidekick or something. It's like, they never call him Darwin. It's like he's always Gumball's or something, or just Gumball. And I'm like, oh my god. Because when I was in school, I would always get called my sister's name instead of my own by, like, like this was a year long. This was years long thing. Like nobody called me by my real name. They always called me by my sister's name. So this hit a fucking nerve for me, and I'm like, God damn it, I understand how you feel, Darwin. But then, like, the thing is, it doesn't take long for Gumball to kind of figure out. It's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Because after Darwin says all this, says, quote, Darwin, you do exist. I understand how you feel. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna cry. I wanna cry. It was so good. Because Gumball is just like, and he understands what he's doing. The scene, where they're mocking each other in the cafeteria. Okay, I found this particularly interesting because it is so uncomfortable to honestly watch. Like, if you're like me and are like very invested in these characters and their stories, it just hurts a bit seeing them like degrade each other on such a mean-spirited level. But I think that is honestly perfect because that is exactly the emotion they were trying to convey. Kind of like this are you going too far type of thing, where they like do like the low hanging fruit insults and like some really mean things about each other. And like they're like mocking each other in their voices, and it's just like, oh, it's so mean, but it's so good for this context. I just think the way they convey emotions in this episode is just so good. Like, you can feel Darwin's pain, and you can feel kind of like the validity that they have when they're like insulting each other. So, eventually, Gumball does allow Darwin to take the lead and get in the game back from Tobias, because after his first plan doesn't work of him climbing through the window, and then Darwin just leaves him in the hole in the cellar outside. Which I'm like, God damn it, Darwin. This is another exhibit of Darwin has horrible fucking ideas. Is when Gumball's like, okay, dude, let's do it your way. And then it ends up with him kidnapping Tobias's mom. This is the episode where it's like, you stole his mom? Oh my god. And then Darwin's like, but you said to take something that was special to him. And then Gumball's like, I meant something, not someone. Because I'm wondering, how the fuck did they do this? Because Darwin clearly had to do it on his own if Gumball is this shocked to find her in their bedroom. I don't know how the hell he did that, but I'm okay. And as like the big climax thing is when they're trying to basically get Mrs. Wilson back to her house without them having it look like they actually kidnapped somebody, and her almost getting killed like 50 times. I love this whole part of it because it's just so fucking absurd. It's like, what do you mean they just kidnapped the woman? Because it's honestly messed up, but it's like entertaining. And then Darwin's like, oh, did I go too far? It's like, motherfucker, you tell me. And they're like still arguing with each other while she's like rolling down the street at full speed and she's about to get hit by a car. It's like, oh my god. It's like, this is just crazy. But fortunately, nobody dies, obviously. And they're able to semi-safely return Mrs. Wilson to Tobias's house to when Gumball admits to Darwin, it's like, dude, you were never a sidekick to me. You're a guardian. You're a guardian and not a sidekick. Because Darwin's like his voice of reason, so he doesn't do shit as horribly as he otherwise would have. It's like, I need you, bro. I'd probably kill myself if you weren't there because of all the stupid shit I would have done if you weren't there to stop me. It's like, oh my god, that is so cute. It's like, I really like the ending. Like, I really do. And then the little bit at the end where where they go to Tobias and like, hey, she can keep that game. We don't want it anymore. It's like, only my mom knows where it is. And then Gumball's like, actually, you can keep that shit because I don't want to admit that your mom's in the bush right next to me. It's just like, oh my god. This is great. I really like it. There's like a couple bits about it that I'm kind of unsure about, but otherwise, it's like, I really like it. In similar veins to the words, but obviously, I think with the words, it was just a little bit better. I just like it a little bit more. But this is so good. Because we get some very good season 2 Darwin quality time, which I always appreciate. Alright. Oh my god. I'm telling you right now that the photo is gonna be the highest ranked one in this whole video. Oh my god. This is so peak. Okay. I will tell you right now that this episode cracks me the fuck up, and this is why it's ranked so high. Cause this whole situation, which a very relatable one too, where Gumball is having a breakdown because he can't take a good school picture. Like, the inciting incident where Gumball is literally having a breakdown in the photo booth while Mr. Small is trying to take his picture, and like there's like the whole line of other kids like yelling at him as he's like on his knees crying on the floor because he simply cannot look good on camera to save his life. It's like, poor Gumball, oh my god. But it just, the thing is, like, it's the appropriate amount of, like, this actually affects him to also, this is clearly played up a bit for the laughs, and I'm like, yeah, yeah. But the specific part that literally cracked me up was when Mr. Small is like, oh, don't worry, surely your picture can't be that bad. And then when he actually looks at the picture, there's a whole like 10 seconds of him trying not to laugh. And it just kills me every time. Another, besides Gumball not being able to get a good picture, the other piece of conflict here is that Banana Joe is seeking revenge upon him for ruining his school picture because he basically pops his skin from holding his pose too long because Gumball held up the line. It's like, I've realized upon rewatching this series that Banana Joe is just a lot more spiteful than I remembered. Because it seems like every episode with him in it involves him, like, seeking revenge on Gumball for some shit he has done. I'm thinking specifically of the banana, which I ranked highly as well. I didn't realize, like, this is the other part that I find so funny, is that this is it the first? It's one of the first instances of kind of Gumball and Alan's rivalry. Frenemies? I don't know what the hell you'd call it because he's not his nemesis because Rob is. This is one of the first instances of exploring Gumball and Alan's rivalry type relationship, okay? Because obviously this will become a theme in later episodes. Because Gumball is incredibly jealous that Alan always looks good in photos, but he doesn't, so he hates him for that. Because, of course, the whole thing with Gumball and Alan is that Gumball is so upset at Alan for being, like, perfect, beautiful, caring, all the things that he can't be, and he just hates him for it, even though Alan shows no bit of hatred towards him, and he just keeps throwing forgiveness and kindness at him, and it just makes him so upset. As I've gotten older, I've kind of realized, like, how interesting that dynamic is. This motherfucker mad at this dude because he's just upset that he's, prettier than him. This kills me, because I'm like, I didn't realize some of the undertones of that, because it's like, it's weird because, like, of the language that Gumball uses, because, like, it's not only bad that you're a million times prettier than me. It's like, hold on a minute. I feel like it's the language. You could say, like, Alan is good looking, or Alan is handsome, or something like that. Or he's photogenic. They could have said, oh, Alan is so photogenic, or like, you're a million times more photogenic than me. there's less suggestive terms than prettier. If a man called another man prettier than him, I'm just saying, I I love it, honestly. But then what also, like, it just keeps getting better because, like, as Gumball's, like, actively crashing out about not being able to get a good photo, Darwin just doesn't give a shit. Like, he really doesn't. He's just like, just admit that you're not photogenic and there's nothing you can do about it, so shut the fuck up. It's like. And then, like, as Gumball's, like, doing all these things to try to help himself, like, like, working out his face and stuff, and then Darwin's like, sure. That's such a good idea. As, like, Bobbert's, like, lasering his skin off. It's like, oh yeah, that is such a good idea, Gumball. Like, Darwin is just so sarcastic in this episode, and it's hilarious, honestly. I love Darwin being prickly. That's my favorite. Like, I feel like a lot of the jokes in this episode are just, like, really sharp, because I'm thinking, like, specifically what kind of caught me off guard, and I'm just like, wait a minute, is when Gumball is like, if you were drowning and this came to the rescue, you'd swim downwards. And I'm like, what the It's really like, it's basically like saying I'm so ugly that I'd make someone kill themselves over it. It's like, what the hell are we doing? But Gumball called Alan a honk is making me question, is there something you'd like to share with the class? Because Gumball can't be straight. I'm so sorry. I'm not actually. But it makes me think, is Gumball have a crush on Alan so much and he thinks he's so hot or whatever, and it's just like, it pisses him off. It's like, enemies to lovers when. The thing is, do people ship that? Because I don't even know. I haven't seen much about that. But probably what this episode is best known for is the face that Darwin constructs for Gumball. Because the ultimate solution was to reconstruct his face so he'd look more photogenic. Which is, as we all know, that handsome Squidward type shit he got going on. And I think it's particularly funny how it's like, Gumball's completely convinced that he's hot shit, but everyone else is like, who the hell is this hobgoblin? Specifically when Gumball's like, oh, watch out, Darwin. He said there was a hobgoblin next to you. And then Darwin's like, nah, I wouldn't worry about it, man. It just kills me. It's like, let Gumball have his hot girl moment with his weird facelift. Whatever, even if y'all think it's weird. Because we know damn well that took out of the same nachos as handsome Squidward. Because fucking obviously. But also, literally, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost of this specific type of face is handsome Squidward, Gumball, and The Weeknd from the Save Your Tears video. They all read from the same fucking book, because there's no way that's not true. God bless. I love them all. But, is completely satisfied with his face, but he's hella paranoid that someone's gonna ruin his chances of getting a good photo, because he's like, nothing ever goes this right for us. This has to be a trap. And the kind of like the fake setup of like they think something's bad's gonna happen based on like the sound design and the lighting, but it's obviously nothing. And of course he ruins his own fucking chances by sneezing and while he's taking the picture, so it doesn't turn out good anyway. And it's like, rip Gumball, you can't get anything you want, I guess. So fun. And so funny. Like, come on. It can't not be peak. It's not better than anything above it, really. But it don't have to be. It's still peak to me, and that's good enough. Alright, so next we have the tag. And another Mr. Robinson episode. But I will say it's probably not as strong as, like, some of the other ones. Specifically, like, the Debt, which I think from season 1, which might be my favorite one. But I do think this is interesting. I don't think it's bad. It's not my favorite. Because this whole concept of Richard and Mr. Robinson beefing with each other gets them to the point where they're both under house arrest. So they have to take. So Richard and Mr. Robinson use Gumball and Darwin to basically pull stunts for them to get revenge on the other person. Yeah, that's not a bad concept, honestly. Like, I did find it entertaining, but it's just like every Mr. Robinson episode, like, kind of steers them towards being more sympathetic towards Mr. Robinson than, like, anybody else. Because when Richard basically sends him off to go butter his house to get revenge, they feel bad for doing it because like, oh, we don't want to hurt Mr. Robinson. We don't want to do that because Gumball thinks it's morally wrong for them to do this, which I think is great that and Darwin has some sense of morality. But I just think it's funny considering they have done more heinous shit on their own accord than doing something like this. Mind you, that Darwin says this is a bad thing to do, and you kidnapped the woman a few episodes ago, so it's like, where does the morality stand there, bud? Go and butter the floor. But anyway, it's like I understand. It's like cute and kind of funny. It's just like I don't find it as interesting as anything else, especially on this list. But there are some very good bits in this that I do very much enjoy, like when Mr. Robinson says, under ordinary circumstances, I'd be so furious with you that my kidneys would fail. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then, like, when Darwin is, like, threatening to change his alarm clock if they don't comply to him, and Mr. Robinson's just freaking out. It's like, I don't know how to turn it back to normal. It's like, you know what? That's a very valid crash out. But it turns out that them torturing Mr. Robinson is more effective because when Mr. Robinson tries to get back on Richard by filling the bath with cheese, he don't care. So it's like, well. But the bee on the stick, though, was pretty devious. It's like, free of the bee. He didn't do anything wrong. Why is he duct taped to a stick? But I will say that kind of what puts this episode lower than it otherwise would have been is because I just didn't find, like, the climax scene to be impactful enough. Because the whole thing is when they trap the two of them in the dumpster to, like, use teamwork to get themselves out and everything to kind of, like, reconcile. But the dumpster is rolling down the street, and they think that they're in it, so they have to chase after it, thinking that they're gonna save them. But of course, it turns out that the dumpster they were chasing after was not the one they were looking for. So it was basically all that was for nothing, and the two of them were at their house all along. Off camera, they had I guess a deep conversation that had them solve their differences. Specifically when they're like, "You're right. It is perfectly appropriate to wear a tie, even though we are both unemployed." It's like, you know what? You do you. Like, it's fine that they went that direction. Like, I don't hate it. It's just, like, I feel like it could have been more interesting. Like, that they were in that runaway trash can. They could actually save them or something like that. I don't know. But of course, they ended off with them. Of course, the cops come into them because they broke their house arrest rules. And then the cops just like, the worst part of this job is giving people a second chance, and still ended up having to tase them. And I'm like, oh, of course. But it's like, there is enough I like about this episode. But it's just like, it's just not too interesting to me. Like, I do like the rivalry between Richard and Mr. Robinson. It's just like, out of all the Mr. Robinson episodes, I don't particularly like this one as much as others. So it's fine. Like, there's nothing about it besides some stray jokes that really, like, do something for me. But, yeah, it's fine. Okay. I will say that this is the other peak episode in this video. The storm. Oh my god, okay. I like the photo more than this, so it's gonna be at the end of peak for this chart. But actually, when I was first doing a ranking, I had it in great, like the top of great. But then I watched it again because I wasn't 100% sure about that after just one watch. And I'm like, you know what, fuck it, it is going in peak because I like this too much for it not to be. And I will say this is the only thing holding me back, which is a big part of this episode, but like it just doesn't. I don't care. I don't care that I don't care. Is that I don't care for the Alan and Carmen ship. I don't. I'm sorry. It's not a bad ship. I don't dislike them like everyone else in the canon does. I just don't care about that, really. Like, they're fine. But it's not even like I was super invested in the romance situation that this entire episode is, which makes you think, then why do you think it's peak if you don't really care about the main thing that's going on? Because I will say it is not what they do, it is how it is done, because this cracks me up. This cracks me up, honestly. Because this is, well, I think pretty similar to the photo, actually. It's like another episode where, like, you get some of the Gumball and Alan beef. And we kind of see, like, the beef that, like, everyone else has with them. Because the inciting incident is that everyone thinks that Alan and Carmen are so born vanilla perfect that they hate them for it. Again, everyone in the school kind of, like, turned against Alan and Carmen, like the way that Gumball has towards Alan, like, this whole time. So you might think that Gumball would be the one kind of egging them on with this because he doesn't like Alan anyway, but actually when he finds out how much that this hurts them when they, like, break up because of the pressure and everything, it's just like Gumball actually goes to help Alan. Just like he puts aside his differences, kind of, and he like tries to help Alan get on his feet again. Tries to, mind you, because the other thing that just kills me about this episode is just Darwin. I love Darwin so much because he can just be so vicious just randomly, and it's beautiful. Because, like, more than once he's like, and then you realize that Gumball is ruining your life. It's like, the thing is, Gumball's actually trying. Like, he's trying. It's just, like, it's not ending well because it's basically because either Carmen or Alan didn't react in the way the other wanted, so it just takes him back to square one. So it's not even like it's Gumball's fault for this stuff happening. It's just like he just put himself into it. So specific Darwin line just is just crazy, I believe, is when Darwin says to Gumball, because you're a gutless coward who has to ruin other people's lives. Because he's too much of a chicken to ask out Penny. Because this comes back around in a beautiful fashion later. But this whole thing of, like, Darwin makes it very fucking apparent to Gumball that he is not dating Penny. Because Gumball's like, you don't see me and Penny being all sappy and stupid like that. And then Darwin's like, well, you're not, because you two aren't going out with each other. And then Gumball's like, shut the fuck up. I just think that's hilarious because Darwin's just like, enough of your shit, bro. We know you're too much of a coward to ask out Penny. Then Gumball's like, shut the fuck up, she's mine and you know it. It's just, I think I like this episode more than I otherwise would have because we have some such cute pinball moments in here. Like, it's not like the main focus, but it's like in here. Because I think this episode is pretty iconic, at least for me, who has been in this fandom for a long time. Because if we can remember that, like, one animated video where someone recreated the scene of Gumball smashing his face into Carmen with the basketball, I just think of that because that scene is so iconic. Like, I've seen that referenced everywhere. But I think this specific scene where it's like Gumball says, like, Gumball Watterson may be a lot of things, but he's not a cheap, corruptible bimbo. This got me on a thought spiral because I know for a fact that there is a censored version of this scene where he says coward instead of bimbo, okay? The version on Hulu is the bimbo version, okay? That's where I watched it from. But the thing is, I was trying to remember from back in the day what version of it did I see or see the most, because the thing is, I feel like I remember both versions of that episode. But I feel like I remember Bimbo most, but it's like I also knew that there was Coward in there too. I just don't remember which one aired on Cartoon Network in like the mid to late 2010s. I don't know. But I know for a fact that scene had got censored, and the more that I like this one sentence got me like hyperfix on it for like a few hours trying to figure out what the fuck they were doing with that. But it's such a weird choice of words compared with the context of this scene of Carmen trying to get Gumball to kiss her to make Alan jealous and like fight back for his love, you know? And Gumball refuses to kiss her because he wants Penny to be his first girl kiss. And he's like, I'm not wasting my first kiss on someone I don't care about like you. But the fact that he's like, Gumball Watterson may be a lot of things, but he is not a cheap, corruptible bimbo. 3 pieces of vocabulary that we can use to dissect what the writers could have meant when they wrote this line. Because I think this is deliberate enough where they had to censor it in some broadcasts of it. Because if you know what bimbo means, okay, this is the word that literally got censored. The slang for bimbo that is commonly used for years is a attractive but stupid woman. Like, we know what the bimbo stereotype is, specifically like in like the 2000s type of thing. Is that it's basically the dumb blonde, kind of dumb sexy woman type of thing. You know? And it's kind of like a derogatory sexist term towards women. Yeah. He just said that. It was weird because bimbo is so overtly used for women. Like, yes, I did do research on this because I was very interested in this. But the meaning of the word bimbo near the beginning of its origin was used to describe like dumb attractive men. But in the later and most recent interpretations of it, it is targeted towards women. And like only women. It's like, yes, the thing is, it's like it was such a gendered term, and Gumball's a guy. He's basically saying, I'm not a cheap, corruptible, dumb, sexy woman. And I'm like, is there any particular reason why they wrote it like that? Because I understand why they changed it to coward. Because I'm not a cheap, corruptible coward. Like, alliteration, hello. But he's more likely to call himself a coward because he's done that so many times. But it's just like, why did they use the word bimbo? Is what I want to know. Because again, I did my research on this, and it's like, that, what I stated previously is pretty much the most commonly used definition for that word. And even in 2012, when this was made, it was still, like, how we use it now, and how it's always been used. The other thing about this is probably the most iconic scene of this episode. One of the most iconic scenes of the entire series is the blowjob joke. I knew this was the episode that this was in. Where Alan is shriveled up and crying in the bathroom stall when Gumball goes to convince him to date Masami, because as we know, Masami puts Gumball up to basically encourage Alan to ask her out, you know? It's like get his revenge on Carmen or just move on with his life or whatever. And then Alan's like, oh, I can't put myself out there right now. Who would want to date such a shriveled ball of sadness? And then Gumball's like, well, no one. But if you reinflate, you might have a shot with Masami. And then Alan's like, I don't think I have the strength to reinflate. Mind you, this is after a discussion about the biological mystery that is Alan. This is still a good joke. It's still funny. It is one of my favorites. Cause the setup, the execution, it is the thing is, as when I was younger, I didn't pick up on this. You think I would fucking pick up on that? No, I didn't. I knew there was some shenanigans going on in the bathroom, but I didn't realize it was a blowjob joke. Cause after it's implied that he eats through his nut, but he also shits out of his knot, so it's like, what are you sucking his dick or kissing him? It's either. It don't matter. It's still gonna be weird as hell. But it's weird because he like talks and kisses with his mouth on his face, but he like eats from his knot. Again, we don't know. I don't want to know. But the blowjob joke still holds up. Because the simple, like, 2 seconds of them walking out of the bathroom where Alan's like, thanks, Gumball, and then Gumball's like, whatever, man. Like, he's, like, low-key traumatized, but he still blew him in the bathroom. I also realize this, is that if we can recall from the wonderfully weird episode of The Astrological, when Mr. Small predicts basically the classroom ships with his magic crystal, and he like, you know, kind of like making up random pairings of people to make them think that this person's their true love, and he predicts Alan and Masami, okay, as kind of like the crack ship of the day, because they're like, wow, we have so much chemistry. This episode did it before then. I don't know if they're referencing this in that other episode. The major hang up with this episode that's still not gonna make me bring it down a peg because I still like this too much is, why does Masami like Alan? Because I am thinking of the climax scene where Masami admits that to Gumball that she just wanted to trick him into having Alan go out with her because she wanted him all along, okay? And it's a trap. It's basically just a trap, and she goes crazy being possessive over Alan because, like, he's mine, he loves me, he has always loved me, I'm the perfect girl for her. And she goes crazy in, like, a tornado defending Alan, even though, where did this come from? Because the thing is, this is the first time Masami has showed interest in Alan, and although we can trace some of this foreshadowing back to the opening scene where, like, Masami is said, like, the extra harsh comment on Alan and Carmen's relationship, and everyone looks at her like, what the fuck are you doing, bruh? But, it's like her being meaner to Alan and the rest of them kind of, like, hinted at her feeling a certain way about him, where it's, like, again, kind of like again, love-hate relationship, because, like, you're such a wet cheese ball, but I also really like you, but I can't stand to like you if you're all up with this other girl. It's like, you know how it is. It's just like, I feel like we could have had more building up to this final moment, because it does kind of feel like it comes out of nowhere. It's like you can kind of pull some bits of foreshadowing, but there's nothing, like, direct enough to, like, hint that Masami liked Alan, because it just seems like it came out of left field. But you know what? We can kind of excuse it, as in Masami covered up her true intentions well enough to trick Gumball into doing all this for her. We can do that. And it's fine. Cherry on top. The absolute cherry on top of this episode is leading up to this, because Darwin tries to not see Gumball doing all this shit with Carmen. Because, like, I can't let Penny see me like this, because obviously she's gonna think that you're dating her. And so, like, Darwin keeps throwing the milkshake in Penny's face so she'd go to the bathroom to clean up. And which is a funny bit, by the way. I like seeing Penny, obviously. She's, like, my favorite character. And the ending where Darwin, of course, has to get the last word in, where he's like, "You don't have to worry about that because you're not going out with each other." When Gumball's like, "Penny, promise we'll never be like that." And then Darwin's like, "Bruh, shut up." And then Penny is the one to throw the milkshake in Darwin's face, as in her way to say, "Shut the fuck up, Darwin." No words. Her face doesn't even change. She just chucks it at him, as in, like, "Fuck you. That's my man, too." Chef's kiss, beautiful. The seeds of Penny liking Gumball back are being planted stronger than ever. Oh my god. So, yeah, I love this episode. Okay, next we have the lesson. I thought this was fine. It's fine. I like this, but not enough. I I don't know. Maybe it is just personal preference that's just like this whole thing is I'm just like not super interested in. There are parts of it that I like, obviously, but it's just like it's fine. But let's get into this because it's the setup to the main conflict is kind of crazy, low key, because Gumball and Darwin are struggling to study for their math test, and no matter what they do, they just can't seem to focus. So Darwin's just like, "Bro, let's just cheat on the test." And then Gumball's like, "Oh my god, how dare you just mention something so heinous as you cheated on a test?" It's like, motherfucker, you probably killed people before. What are you talking about? But they get caught, obviously, because Darwin is not being slick about it, obviously. So Principal Brown sends them to spring break detention, or whatever, where they have to basically act like they're in prison. The thing is, I like it up until the main conflict, because the thing is, I found the whole cheating part to be interesting. It's just when they got to the tension, it's just kind of like, and then they're suddenly thrown to the wolves, and then suddenly they're like doing shit for Julius, who this is his first like episode as like a central enough character, and they're just doing shit for him, like as means of proving their worth as being tough and not babies to the detention crew. Like, no matter like the whole thing is they're trying to escape out of detention, but they just keep getting caught and like thrown back into detention because they try to like as they're like getting something for Julius and they're like sneaking through Principal Brown's desk and they find his erotic custom calendar. I thought that was funny. And then of course they get like more detention for doing that. And it's just in like being sent to Mr. Small's office to listen to his poems as torture. Poor Mr. Small. I will say this, I do particularly enjoy where this episode ends up. Because it ends up with them sneaking through the air vents to go to the roof to jump off of it. Because they are going off of this blueprint that they found of the escape plan. And they basically bust themselves out of the air vents by blowing Julius's fuse to blow up the vents so they can climb out. And it's kind of like the fake out where you think they're going to be able to execute the plan by like the way they tied this around was kind of great because it's like they need to use math to calculate the zip line that they're making. But it's like if we just studied, we would have known how to do this, but we don't know how to do this. And we have to learn our lesson that cheating is wrong, and that when you cheat, you are only cheating yourself. And then Gumball's like, dude, fuck that. It's to never get caught. And they jump off the roof to escape the tension. And they're like, just before Principal Brown's about to get them. And they're like, ha ha, we win, you lose, fuck off, see you never. Principal Brown's just like, bruh, you gotta come back tomorrow. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're so happy about. This is why it's like near the top of meh, because there are parts of this that I do enjoy. It's just like, as a whole, it's not the most interesting thing. What got me interested was the whole like fake message type of thing, where Darwin's like, we shouldn't cheat. Cheating is bad, and we need to better ourselves for our own good. And then Gumball's like, no, never get caught. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I support that message. The thing is, it can be taken either way. The real reason is like kind of like a nuance in between the two. But it's like, you know what? Again, it's nuance. It's like, yeah, don't cheat, but if you are gonna cheat, don't get caught. It's like, that's kind of metal. I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, it's not as good as like anything above it, which is the problem. Which is a shame, because I like, as you can see, I do like the vast majority of this season. It's just like, shit's gotta happen as it happens. Next up, another classic episode. The game was particularly interesting because this brings back, I think this is one of the first like more deliberate attempts to recall past episodes, because they bring back Dodge or Dare, which is the board game that they made up in season 1, because there are episodes in season 1 where we see them play it. Well, kind of. The thing is, it's like, no, up to this point, no one really knows what the game is about. Like, we've seen them play it a little bit, but it's not like to the extremes that it would be portrayed here. Because the whole thing is like, as they're cleaning out from under their bed, Nicole finds the old game, and then Gumball's like, no, you cannot, oh, we cannot play it, or there'll be doom upon us all. And then when they, in turn, open the game without their knowledge, and Gumball's like, fuck, I guess we're just gonna have to play it, but just know that this is not for the weak, and only the strongest will survive. It's like Gumball specifically makes it seem like it's some Jumanji type shit, and it totally is. And no one else in the family besides Darwin's just like, yeah, totally. But I think you're right, Gumball. I don't think we should play that. But it's like, nah, how bad could it be? But then things get progressively worse, as they tend to do, they realize, ah, shit, what kind of fucking black magic did you use on this game, Gumball? Because the thing is, it's like this cursed game. Like, they take an old concept and kind of like improve upon it. Because they create this cursed game that like alters your perception of the world, and like, it's basically, this game makes you hallucinate. Because, as Gumball says, the effects are only as real as you believe them to be. And everyone starts hallucinating. But plot twist, sure, none of that was real, but you still destroyed everything in the house because of it, and like, you destroyed the town because of this game. It's basically like, we cannot play this game because the things that it'll make us do will cause irreparable damage to everyone and everything. I think it's fun, like, if you kind of break it down like that. It's like, you know what? That makes for a great concept, because I will say this episode is very entertaining. It's like, yes, it's one of those episodes where things get progressively worse and worse, even though there's totally something they could do to stop it. But it's like, you know what? It's kind of like this cartoon logic kind of like fantasy type of situation that I quite enjoy. Specifically when it like reaches the climax of like, things get more and more intense, and it's like just too much to bear to like carry on like this, and they're like, we have to finish this game no matter what. And when they're about to basically die, like literally from holding their breath. They finished the game on the last second, and they're like, oh my god, we did it. But now everything is ruined, so I guess it's not okay. It's like, this is a fun episode. Is it? I am going to put this between the skull and the apology in the hell yeah tier, because like I do really like it. Like, it is, like, I do think it's fun, but there's just simply other stuff I like more. But I do like this. It is a classic episode in my opinion. Okay, next we have The Limit. Because the thing is, I just straight up didn't remember my opinion on this, despite this being like a memorable episode, particularly one of the major Nicole episodes of the series. So I'm like, oh, surely I'd have more opinions about it already, but upon rewatching it, I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Because it's like, my issue with it is like basically the whole idea of it just gives me the ick, for lack of a better term. Because while I do enjoy the kids acting like kids, I just don't know if it works in this context to this extreme, more specifically. Because the family is at the store and the grocery shop, and the kids are upset that Nicole won't let them buy a treat. So they throw a tantrum over not getting a treat, and Nicole sends them to the car to wait, and they just keep trying to get back at her to try to get her to cave to buy them treats. Even to the point where Richard joins in with them to also get treats. And them being stupid towards her kind of makes her break. Like, she literally, again, you've made me reach my limit. And she goes insane on them, and like, it seems like she's trying to kill them, but it's like, I don't, again, we don't actually see what she would do to them, but I don't know, something about this just feels a bit too mean-spirited. Would kids nag their mom for treats at the store? Of course they do. But I just feel like the way it was kind of portrayed here is just a bit harsh. Specifically, okay, this is what kind of killed me, but I'm like, what the hell is going on? Is when they first get into the car and they're like pouting over it, and then they're like trying to think of ways to get their treats back, and then Darwin's like, I got a great idea. What if we set up a decoy, put our fake bodies in the car as we light it on fire and push it off a cliff to fake our own death so Mrs. Mom can feel bad about it and give us treats. And then of course Gumball and Anais look at this motherfucker like, we're not doing that. Cause it's like, again, season 2 Darwin is my favorite because there's just sharp moments of him being absolutely unhinged, and everyone just looks at him like, what the hell are you doing? It's like, what? Like, that being the first thing you think of is actually insane, and I think you need to seek professional help. But I just feel like, well, first of all, was Nicole's crash out justified? Yes, it was. I will say that. Should this have even happened in the first place? No. I just don't think them going to these extremes to get treats at the expense of Nicole, causing her to want to eat them alive, pretty much. It turns out that she's only chasing after Richard because he was the one that encouraged them to shoplift, because it's not just the kid's fault, it's obviously Richard's fault, because why would you suggest stealing? But, I do like the ending, I will say, where Nicole realizes, oh, what kind of example am I setting for you by being all crazy like this? I'm so sorry. And then the kids are like, oh, we're sorry for not listening to you. That was so disrespectful. And then you think it's all good and well in the end. until they actually bribed a security guard to get them to give them treats. So they didn't learn their fucking lesson, actually, because they still got the treats. And I'm just like, it's funny, I will admit, but it's like, I feel bad for Nicole. I really do. It's like, did she deserve this? I don't think so. The kids were just being little bitches the entire time. For treats. It's like, okay. Richard, I would expect that from. But I don't think we need to get, Anais in the mix. I don't think she would do that. Gumball, probably. Darwin, maybe? Richard, he been doing this. He's been doing this. So yeah, it's like, it's fine. I just think it's a little bit too mean-spirited for my taste. It's kind of like in similar vein to The Hero, I suppose. But I do like this one more. Next is The Voice. Ooh. Now this is interesting because this is the first and I think only time we ever have a William-centered episode. Because I will say that the opening scene of this episode, where it's basically Gumball and Darwin taking pleasure in cyberbullying in their entire class on Elmore Plus, is just funny as hell. Line, like, having like this heated argument for 7 hours with this person, only for them to like block them. Ran out of points to make. Let's just block him before he can respond. And it's like, oh my god, Darwin. Because they're just being toxic just for the hell of it. They're taking full pleasure in being little shits online to other people. But I will say that when they say, like, let's block everyone, that annoys us. And they've, like, blocked the entire class. Why is that kind of real? Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, why is that actually good advice? You know the beauty of just blocking people you don't want to hear from? I think more people should take that advice because blocking people can be a great thing to do. But of course that backfires for them. It turns out that somebody basically emails them a death threat seeking revenge on them because they blocked them. And then Gumball and Darwin, of course, freak out. It's like, oh my god, someone's gonna get us and we don't even know who it is. So we gotta apologize to everybody we know for the potential damage we've done to see if we can fix this. Of course, the whole time, like if you like the first time you watch this episode, you wouldn't know who is behind this. But of course it's obvious that it is William. I know he's shown up before in the series, but it's like we've never heard from him really. So this is the first time. So it's like I do like that fake out. It's like they're not a completely new character, but it's like unexpected nonetheless. Of course, most of this episode is taken up by Gumball and Darwin going around and apologizing to everyone for their deeds. Because when they're like, oh, it had to be someone we had to upset. And then they're like, wait, that literally could be anyone. It's like, oh my god. But probably the funniest part of this whole, like, shenanigan spree is when they try to apologize to Tobias, okay? While they are in the gym shower with towels on, while Tobias is, like, venting to them about feeling like he's not even the main character in his own life. Because, like, I want to be cool and have all these adventures like you, but no, I don't get to have anything. Like, Tobias rants about being a loser as Gumball and Darwin try to affectionately pet him while they're wearing towels in the shower. And then when Tobias won't accept their apology, they fist fight him out into the hallway where Darwin's like, you know what, fuck you, we're gonna make you apologize. So he takes his towel off and whips Tobias with the towel to his knees in front of everyone in the hallway. What? That is funny. It's like, what the hell are we doing here? Character they go to, it just does a wonderful job, because when they go to Carrie trying, like, Gumball's basically begging her to forgive him. And then he's like, "Oh, Carrie, do you really want to see my soul weep?" And then Carrie's like, "Yeah, let's see some tears, bud." And it's like, Carrie is so appropriately savage here. Like, she kind of reminds me of Penny in that scene. But, Carrie being savage is just lovely. And then when Gumball is, like, basically gonna make him pop a blood vessel trying to cry, and then Carrie's like, "Okay, never mind. Enough of that shit." Then this other part particularly killed me is when Darwin approached Penny, apologizing to her on Gumball's behalf, because it's like, the thing is, if you were a regular viewer, you would know that this is most likely a fake out scenario, but maybe you wouldn't catch that. Where Darwin's like, "I'm sorry for not being man enough to ask you out and being such a coward and all that, and never expressing how I truly feel." It's like, it's framed as like this very heartfelt moment, but then obviously it is revealed that Darwin did not feel those things. He was reading Gumball's script. But the thing that killed me specifically was how Penny was just like straight-faced the entire time this was happening. Because she's just like, "Oh, wow, Darwin. I didn't know you felt that way towards me. I always thought it would be Gumball that would say that." And then Gumball's in the distance like, "I'm sorry for being such a coward." It's like, Penny does, like usually she would, like, she is half fully convinced that Darwin is confessing his feelings towards her, and she just stands there looking at him like, okay. Because she does not care. She's not shocked, or sad, or happy, or anything. She's just, like, straight-faced. And I think that's hilarious. Because she's gotta be thinking, this dude can't be for real. Despite apologizing to everyone, and thinking they've done the good deed, it is revealed that William was the one that sent them that threatening message, and he goes after them, trying everything in his power to, like, destroy them, pretty much, because, like, he's, like, trying to, down, and he's, like, chasing them down. It's like, "No, let me go first. No, I want to be in the back, but we're all gonna get eaten anyway," whatever. But as William is, like, saying all these, like, really menacing things, it is revealed that he can't talk. So everything he's been trying to portray, he realized, "Oh wait, I can't talk. I'm just thinking, I'm just saying this in my head. You must be so confused why I'm doing this to you, and I'm so sorry because I have overlooked this." So he's like, again, like, he realized he can't talk, but as he's trying to apologize to them, they simply can't understand him. So Gumball just punches him in the face. Or, like, they just knock him out the window. And it's just like, well, rip William, I suppose. But I just think overall, this is just funny. Like, there are so many funny scenes. And we do get to see more of a character that we haven't seen too much of before. So I think I'm gonna put it just under the watch, because I like it in similar ways to this one. It's like, I like it. I do find the story interesting and entertaining. It may not be, like, my favorite compared to other things, but I really still enjoy it. Okay, next we have The Promise. Ooh, I think this is really interesting, because this is another episode that revolves around Banana Joe's beef with Gumball and Darwin. Again, this was a running theme I didn't fully realize until now, but it's like, wow, they love to beat the shit out of Banana Joe. Because this whole episode revolves around Banana Joe being pissed at Gumball and Darwin for various reasons, because he won't let them sit next to him on the bus. And then as Gumball's listing all these horrible things they've done to him, it just makes us understand, like, okay, the beef is valid because what the fuck are you doing? But, Darwin is the one that wants to make amends with him. He's like, I'm sorry for everything we did. Can I make it up to you? And then Banana Joe's like, you know what? Yeah, I think we can do that. It's like, do you want to hang out later? And he's like, yeah, I would love to. But what he either fails to mention or fails to remember is that he promised to play video games with Gumball. And Gumball obviously has been thinking about this for a while and doesn't want the plans to get derailed over someone as insignificant to him as Banana Joe. And he basically fights Darwin over basically prioritizing Banana Joe over him. And so Darwin spends this episode basically splitting his time between Gumball and Banana Joe in a weak attempt to appease to both of them until he realizes where his heart truly lies. Because I cannot emphasize how much Gumball does not give a fuck about Banana Joe in this episode. Like, he does not care. Because when he's even, like, trying to say nice things about him, Gumball's like, I like Banana Joe. He's, like, my favorite fruit. And I'm like, really? It's so backhanded. It's kind of hilarious. But Gumball is so dead set on his goals, and Darwin is very dead set on his goals too, so the conflict of interest is present. So Darwin resorts to guilt tripping the hell out of Gumball into complying to his desires. Because his goal is to make Gumball feel as horrible as possible about not helping out Banana Joe. To the point where his guilt makes Gumball hurt like a physical pain. But in the end, it's like Gumball realizes that his selfishness is too powerful. Because the thing is, one of my favorite things about Gumball writing in general, like, for both of the series, is how self-aware these characters are of their own existence. They call themselves out for being horrible, or stupid, or irrational every single episode. Because Gumball's like, it's no match to the power of my selfishness. And I'm like, whoa, that is a very self-aware thing to say. You admit that you're selfish, you know it's probably wrong, but you're not gonna do a damn thing about it. Because you just want to go out for your own motivations and not care about this guy that you never cared about in the first place. I think is a very self-aware character, okay? He admits his flaws on a daily basis. He knows he's a coward, he knows he's a joke, and he knows he can be pretty horrible most of the time. And in this case, he admits, I'm selfish as hell and I'm not even sorry for it. Because I think you're the bad guy for guilt tripping me into bent into your will. Because the thing that I love about early Gumball writing in season 2 specifically is how Gumball and Darwin are both portrayed as being kinda horrible together, because obviously it is wrong for Darwin to guilt trip Gumball like this over something that even Darwin himself admits that he doesn't care about that much. Like, technically he'd rather spend time with Gumball, but to make himself feel better and to make himself look good, he would do this for Banana Joe on the means of image preservation. And I didn't realize this until rewatching this season, specifically on like kind of like this like ulterior motive layer to Darwin's niceness, which I think kind of fizzled out as in later seasons, unfortunately, where it's kind of like he has like a two-sided motivation to why he is good or does good things. Because he does good things for other people because that is the right thing to do, as he says, but there's also kind of like this a little twist to it where it's not all genuine most of the time. He does do genuine things a lot of the time, but some points, like this point here, he doesn't always do it for the genuine reason. Because Gumball is trying to make him realize you're just doing this for him to make yourself feel better and to have a superiority complex. So Gumball is aware in that sense that what Darwin is doing is also wrong because he is doing it for his own selfish motivations as well, just like he is. But at least Gumball is aware that his motivations are not always morally correct, but Darwin is completely convinced that he is morally correct in this situation and is trying to actively make Gumball feel bad about not feeling the way he does. I got in a flow state there, I'm sorry, but do we understand why I rock with this? Really liked that type of conflict. I really do. But in the end, when Gumball realizes what is going on and is like, you know what, Darwin? I feel so betrayed, but it's not because of the game, dude. It's because I wanted to spend time with you, because I love you and I care about you and I like spending time with you, and I guess you just don't value my time as much as I thought. And I'm like, ooh. And then the iconic quote where Darwin says to that, "Don't you dare doubt my love. You are the most precious thing in my life." Oh, Darwin is so cute. One of my absolute favorite moments of brotherly love between them. That is so fucking cute. Oh my god. So they're having this sweet rekindling moment of amending their differences because in the end they do love each other. And then Banana's just fucking dying in the background. Because the favor that Darwin was gonna give Banana Joe is to basically spot him while he bench presses to record his YouTube video or whatever. But as Banana Joe is going through the 7 stages of grief while he is being crushed alive by this bench press weight, and he keeps holding on to the hope that they're gonna show up any minute now when they just fully gave up on him a long time ago. And he has to, like, basically claw his way out to safety. It's just like Banana Joe gets tortured for no reason again, and it's like, it's messed up, but kind of in a funny way. Because Banana Joe can never catch a break. And yeah, they do kind of make up in the end, so yeah, like it could have been worse off for him, I suppose. But I really enjoy this. I am going to put it in between. I'm gonna put it in between the phone and the pony because I really like this. I really do. Okay, next we have the castle. And I must say, this surprised me. I didn't realize I liked this so much. Because I dare I say this is one of my favorite Richard episodes. I know, like, it's not just a Richard episode, like, it involves the kids too, but, like, I think this is fun. Because this whole concept of, first, it is so cute that the kids are excited to hang out with Richard on a Saturday because they like spending time with him because they get to be feral. I just like it because as much as they put down Richard most of the time, they do like spending time with him and stuff, and it's so cute because like the whole like like the fireworks scene where they're so happy that they have a day off of school and they get to spend time with their dad, and they're so excited about it. It's like, that's so cute. I honestly love that. So this whole theme of that, it kind of bumps it up a lot more. But then, of course, as it always does, it gets out of hand when the other people in town hear the word of anything goes at the Watterson house. There's no rules when Richard's in charge. And so all the degenerates from Elmore go to their house and trash the place because, as they put it, Richard doesn't have enough of a spine to stand up for himself. So I suppose this is similar to the words in that context, except it's Richard going through this situation where he has to learn to build up the courage to stand up for himself. And I find it funny, but also interesting, is how, like, Richard's being low-key melodramatic about it. Or like, oh, I'm just a spineless person. And I can never say no. Oh no, what am I gonna do? And then the kids are like, yeah, this is all your fault. Oh, it's all my fault. Yeah, it is all your fault, actually. Because the thing is, the kids are not afraid to tell him that he fucked up, even though Richard feels actually terrible about it. And just when you think that he's going to finally stand his ground and say no to everyone trashing the place, the the group turns on him and is like, you can't tell us what to do, so we're gonna kick you out of your own house. So then the second half of this episode is them trying to get their house back before Nicole comes home. It's like, oh no, what are we gonna do? The house is trashed. What are we... It's like... Cause this is when the kids are trying to hype Richard up to take the house back, and then they get thrown out again and they just realize, oh...
Alan, we are so fucked.
When you think it's gonna end well if Richard's stand up for himself, but then fake out, they're not gonna listen to him. And then Nicole rolls up and is like, and everyone's like, ah shit, Mom's here. We're all cooked. And then she goes in and like snatches the soul out of everybody. And they just bend to her will out of survival instinct fear. Like this Nicole crash out moment more than the entirety of The Limit, because it's so brief, honestly. It's like, it's basically, you do realize Nicole is the one in charge, right? Like, you can do whatever you want, but you can't top her. I'm sorry, she's the top in this relationship. It's basically Nicole asserts her dominance and makes everyone cry because of it, and that is beautiful, I think, because, yeah. So, I just like this. It's fun, and I like how the characters are, and I really like how Richard is written, and how the kid, and, like, the relationship to Richard, and having fun with him. Like, I like that, and I think the conflict is good and plausible. So, I think I'm gonna put it Halloween. Is that what I wrote down? Yes. In the great category, because I really do like this. It's so much fun. Okay. Next. Oh boy. This surprised me so much. But not in a good way at all, actually. Okay. I don't like the boombox. I really don't. In fact, it's my least favorite of the season. Because I can recall, even when I was younger, I never really liked this one. Like, whenever it came on, I'm just like, okay, whatever. But I think I know why now. I don't think I completely understood it when I was younger, but upon revisiting this, I'm like, oh, no. I don't know if anyone else has a weird vibe from this. Which is a shame, because this is, like, the only, like, major Juke episode that we have. Poor Juke, oh my god. Because, to cut to the chase, this is kind of fucked up. Like it is. Because if we have this entire episode revolves around Gumball and Darwin trying to communicate and understand with Juke, but since he speaks a different language, he can't get his point across clearly, and so Gumball and Darwin berate and infantilize Juke just because they can't understand what he's saying. You think that sounds kind of extreme, but that's literally what this episode is about. Why does it feel racist? The vibes from this is just uncomfortable. And I don't know if I need to say more than, if this happened in real life, it's fucked up. It's like, this whole thing where it's like, you're trying to communicate with someone that doesn't speak your language, or a language that you're fluent in or can understand. and you are dehumanizing them and infantilizing them and berating them for not being able to understand your native language and treating them like shit because of that. Do we understand how bad that is when it happens in real life? Granted, it's not really portrayed like this is the right thing to do because it is framed as Gumball is being an asshole when he does this. When Darwin's just trying to like help him out and try to understand him more, and Gumball's just being completely dismissive of him because he just doesn't want to understand him. Because the most damning parts of it is like when Gumball's like, dude, just speak English already. Or like, that's not English, do you speak English? It's like, do we understand that is a racist thing to do in real life? This is I honestly think just the fact that they made a whole episode about this is actually kind of fucking crazy, and I don't like it. Because when I was younger, I felt like this had a weird vibe to it, and now I know what the weird vibe was. It just feels racist. Or speciesist against boomboxes, I guess. It's like, this doesn't. The thing is, if this had a happy ending, okay? If they realized the errors of their ways and apologized and were friends and all of that, then it'd be like, okay, they learned their lesson, sure. But the thing is, they never hear him out when they flip the switch for him to, like, speak English. And they never get the chance to listen to him because they just flip his switch back unknowingly. And it's just like, then Gumball's like, well, that's what you get for trying to help people. And it's like, Darwin is trying to, like, do good things, but even then, his intentions aren't that pure, and it's not like he hasn't said some questionable things about it. But it feels like how they treat Bobbert, but I feel like how they treat Bobbert is not quite the same thing, because I feel like this is such a deliberate thing of, like, I'm going to berate you because I don't understand your language, and that's just like, I just don't want to watch an episode about that because it's uncomfortable to see it happen in real life, and it's equally as uncomfortable to watch Gumball do it to somebody else. It's like, again, would he realistically do that? I don't know. But I don't care for that, really. But it's like, the thing is, it's not the worst. Like, this episode isn't the worst thing ever. I guess. Like there's episodes I dislike more than this. So it's gonna be at the end of Meh, but it's on thin ice, honestly, because it's like, this is not funny or interesting, it's just uncomfortable. Like, it gets, I know when an episode just makes me straight up uncomfortable, it's just like, no. No, no, no. This show is not supposed to make me feel like that, so what are we doing here? I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion, but I just don't fuck with this. Okay, next we have The Tape. I think this is one of the most memorable episodes of this season, simply because of, if you know the animation that like recreates some of the scenes from this episode from back in the day. Yeah, I think that's why I remember this one so much. But it's like a clip show, okay? Typically, I don't care for the clip show type episodes of most things, because most of the time they don't do anything interesting with it. But this is, I can safely say they did something interesting with, like, this clip show type of episode. It's more like, it's not so much a clip show as in its, like, short story segments. I think there was like a Simpsons episode like that. And this feels like something similar, where it's like different isolated segments that string together into a consistent narrative, kind of. Because of course Gumball and Darwin are like filming like their own movie, and they are filming different people doing different things for their movie. It's like they have Carrie trying to do like an old-fashioned internet screamer horror video on these people. And like them watching Ocho so they can copy his cheat codes, and reenacting a nature documentary scene with Richard trying to steal Nicole's groceries. It's like the thing that makes this episode really work for me is that each segment hits for me. It's like I do like there's no like really low there's not like a low moment in this episode. It's like I think everything is either funny or interesting, which I appreciate because sometimes not everything can be interesting in an episode like this. Because I feel like the jokes they make within those segments I just really love. Like when Gumball is trying to copy Ocho's cheat codes and he actually gets somewhere with it, but he ends up glitching out in like a panic attack type way. And he's like, oh my god, we gotta undo this. Like, it has to be seen to be believed. It is so funny. And the entire segment with Tobias trying to film an alpha male tutorial video when he just keeps flopping, and when he goes up to Masami trying to like, here's how you hit on girls, and he like tries to woo Masami. It's like, I'd call my mom when I fell in love, and then Masami's like, I don't have any money, but you can use my cell phone to call your mom. The moment she pulls out her cell phone, the scene to come after is just gold. Like, it's so quiet, but it is so loud. It's like there is minimal dialogue exchange besides Tobias calling his mom on the phone and the couple of words they exchange. It's just the silence is so loud. It's like it's meant to make you feel all the embarrassment that Tobias is feeling, and Masami just doesn't care. Because when Tobias does call his mom, he's like, can you come pick me up early? Because I'm a bit embarrassed. And then he just walks away, and then Gumball's like, wait, man, come back. Because this implies that... No, it is known that this entire segment was filmed with Gumball and Darwin just standing there watching this happen, and it's just like, oh my god. Another iconic scene is the Annihilator. When they make the fake doll ad with Anais and she gets really pissed off and starts like smacking everybody. Again, I remember I used to have a shirt with like her making that face on it. Yeah. And of course, to end it off on with them accidentally deleting the footage, so I guess none of this really mattered. Ugh. They ruined all of their hard work. I feel bad for them. But this is just fun. Like, this is so much fun. And for that, I think it's pretty great, to be quite honest. I'm gonna put it here for right now. But I really do like this. Because it's just a good time. Alright. Oh, I was waiting for this one. The sweaters. Well, you know what? I don't even know if this is unpopular or not. But I really like this. Because this is Sarah's first major role. Oh my god. I knew this was the Sarah episode to start the Sarah saga. And it's so interesting to look back upon this, knowing especially how they characterize her in the new series. But it's like, this is where it all began, honestly. It's great. I don't care. It's great. But, the thing is, I think usually I wouldn't like this because I would find it frustrating, like how Gumball and Darwin are frustrated, but for some reason, it just reaches over the bell curve of me not caring about the practicality of this and just finding it entertaining. Because the whole joke of this episode is that these two guys from Sarah's old school, more like two guys and their teacher, harass them, trying to put up a fight with them because, like, if you're so hardcore, then why don't you prove it to me? Because. And then Gumball and Darwin just reject it. It's like, we're not fucking doing this, bro. We're not doing that. We are not hardcore, so leave us alone because you're like high key stalking us. And Sarah just doesn't help the situation because she just wants the drama. And she just keeps poking the fire, acting like she ain't doing nothing wrong, but you know, damn well she is. But I will say the only, like, I think this is a true inconsistency in the series that I just don't understand why they did it like this. Because it is set up deliberately in this episode like Sarah is a new student in their school and they are literally taking her a tour around the school. And she's saying, I just moved out from my old school where you had such a reputation as being hardcore and everyone thinks you're so cool. When, if we can remember in The Voice, literally, they go up to Sarah, who was sitting in the bleachers, and they're like, we're sorry, girl, we never talked to you. And she's like, my name is Sarah. They have spoken. Sarah has been here. And they're acting like she is new here. Because I feel like the way it's framed in this episode is like this is Sarah's first day of school. And like they are showing her around. When we have seen Sarah in the school environment in previous episodes in this season, just a few episodes over, okay? I know that's like a minor thing, but it's like it's still true because they bothered to make a scene of it in The Voice, okay? Was that deliberate? I don't even know. It just happened. But when they realize, well, first they think it's pretty cool for them to be so famous elsewhere for their shenanigans, because obviously Gumball gets all up in his head about it to begin with. But then when he kind of realizes what's going on here, he's like, okay, whatever. We are not, like, as hardcore as they think we are, so that's whatever. But when they finally get confronted by the two guys who are, like, animating, like, this limited 80s cell animation style, which I do enjoy, they are pressuring and provoking Gumball and Darwin to fight them because of what Sarah tells them about them. Because we don't really know how or why this rumor or whatever started about them in like another town over, where we have never seen this place before. And they keep interrogating them because of Sarah provoking them. Because it is obvious that Sarah is purposely provoking these boys to fight them, simply because she wants to see shit go down for the love of the game. So this is like the inciting instant of the Sarah saga of her being creepy and destructive towards them. And I think this is a very interesting way to start this dynamic off because it is not obvious in this episode that she is like a deranged fangirl who is like stalking them and like is so obsessed with them in like a parasocial way. It's like that's not really what it is portrayed here as. It's just like she's kind of crazy and a bit nosy, but it's like she just met them. And I'm wondering if the roots of her obsession come from her hearing these grand stories about them in her old school, that she kind of obviously she built up an image in her head about them, and is just riding off of them off of straight delusion. I think I think that's very interesting, honestly. If you're gonna like unpack like basically why is Sarah doing the things she does, that might be it. I don't know, but I just find it interesting because I do like Sarah. She is one of my favorite characters, and I just think that this is an interesting way to introduce her character arc Even though, as we will see, it evolves into something much more than what this episode provides. And you think what would be the frustrating part is like how nobody listens to Gumball and Darwin? Because no matter who they talk to, whether it's like the coach or Mr. Small or Principal Brown or anybody, nobody is saying, "You're right, these guys are being weird towards you, we should probably make them stop." Every single one of them is encouraging them to fight. For what reason? Neither them nor the audience is supposed to know. I think this episode is very much like from very early on, the status quo of this episode is set, and you just kind of have to roll with it despite thinking that it doesn't make sense. They're like very self aware of the situation. It's like, has there been a gas leak? Everyone's been acting weird lately. It's like, I like the fact that they are aware that things are wrong when they are, but no one else is gonna admit that. I do like that. So that's what makes this episode work for me. Like, I just think it's interesting, and like the kind of the way they did it is in a way I kind of like, even though I otherwise might not have. I don't know. I've always liked this episode, like I always have, and this just kind of reinforces it. That might be unpopular, but I like what this was doing. Okay, next we have the internet. Oh my god, this was so much fun. Simply for the fact that we can look back upon this and realize, god damn, that is definitely written in 2012. This was the episode that made me reconsider my previous opinions about quote unquote dated references in the series. Because this show has existed for about 15 years at this point. So obviously some of the things that they are going to say and do and reference are going to be dated eventually. And this episode made me realize maybe that's not so bad. Because it's very much an encapsulation of when this was made. Because when I tell you that this episode absolutely reeks of early 2010s internet culture, I'm not kidding. Because obviously the time it was written, it was very current. But looking back upon it, you realize this is dated, but there are still aspects of it that we can pull wisdom out of, if you will. Because it's basically that Gumball and Darwin are addicted to watching YouTube videos. Because it ranges from cat videos to prank fails to compilations of whatever the hell is going on. Is I feel like that, well, keeping it like general and not like super specific, it's like, yeah, that's what people did on the internet during that time, was exclusively search for videos of whatever they wanted online and waste their time on it. Because the whole point of this episode is the internet is designed to waste your time and make you do nothing with your life. Could we say that now? You tell me. You're watching a YouTube video right now. But I just think like this is one of the beginnings of basically Gumball's critique on technology, like as a series-wide theme. This isn't the first episode to do this, but I think it's the first most relevant one, because some of the things they say are still true. Because the whole conflict of this episode is that Gumball accidentally records himself crashing out over a jump scare video, and everyone makes fun of him for it and meme the shit out of him. And he is deeply embarrassed by this, and he's like, we have to get that video off the internet or my life is over. Because he can't stand the fact that he's being memed to death, and everyone's laughing at him. I say the only unrealistic thing about this episode is how it got like 50 billion views immediately. It's like, that's not how that works, but okay. We can give it grace for the sake of the plot. But I just think some of this is just, it's just funny to think about, because Gumball's like, the number one rule of the internet is to never put yourself on the internet. And I'm like, oops. Anyway, but then Darwin's trying to, like, comfort, and it's like, don't worry, dude. You're just a drop of embarrassment in an ocean of shame. It's like, that's how I fucking feel, honestly. But, I feel like stuff like that is what keeps me interested in this episode, despite it being very obviously dated. But what they in turn do is to get revenge on the internet. Because at first, the audience is made to believe, it's like, oh, it's so ridiculous to, like, consider the internet as a single person. But in this universe, of course, the internet is a single person. So they seek their revenge on the internet to force it to take their video off the internet. Because, as Darwin says, nothing on the internet is ever truly deleted. And I'm like, then what about lost media, Darwin? Have you ever considered that? But anyway, well, it's all good and fun up to that point. There's this one moment that I'm just like, literally, what the fuck are we doing? Because I knew this was coming, but in retrospect, it's just like, why did they do that? Is basically Gumball's last nerve is hit, and he's like, I'm gonna go cyber warrior on his butt. So he's basically, as his revenge on the internet, is he gets out his Xerox scanner, it stands over it butt-ass naked, and basically to scan his everything onto the computer while Darwin is watching it happen. And then Darwin's like, abort the mission, and then cut jump to Darwin washing his eyes out with the shower head. I think that's funny as hell, but I wonder why. What was the reason?
I just explained the reason. What was the reason, bitch?
It's like, Gumball, what was the goal in Xeroxing your dick to the internet? It turns out that this reminds me of the virus in this sense, where it's like this, like, strange entity takes control of all the aspects of their life, and it makes their lives unlivable because they realize that everything is connected by everything. It's like how the virus infected all that stuff in the virus, and it's like with the internet hijacking all of the electricity in this episode. Why are these so similar? I am figuring this out right now. Why are these plots so similar? Because in the virus, the bacteria was also controlling the electricity in the cars and all of that. And the internet's doing the same things with, like, the power lines and the crosswalks. They did the same thing twice. Okay, but I like this episode better. But they actually do find the internet's house. It's like, luckily for us, the internet only lives 2 blocks away. And as the internet is trying to destroy everything in their path to kill them so they won't find him, they confront the internet saying, you gotta take this shit down immediately, or we're gonna beat your ass. And then the internet is like, no, you can't do that. Think of all the good I do for the world. This one line killed me specifically when the internet's like, think about the freedom of speech, except for the 2/3 of the world that don't have it. And I'm like, truth nuke. Oh god, that was a bit dark. But it turns out they can't stay mad at the internet for long because they realize basically the beauty of cat pictures, that they forgive the internet, and the internet is like, get bent. I don't care about you touching me, because please don't touch me. Physical contact. This is a weird episode, but I really like it. Like, I kind of weirdly like it in the same vein as The Job, where it's just a little bit It's kind of like the surreal. It's a little bit surreal. Like how the internet's just a person in this world. I don't know. I just like this episode a lot. And I think it's great. A classic, definitely. Okay, next we have the plan. And so I think this is good. I think it's good. I kind of I do like this, obviously. I just think it's interesting. I think this as a concept is interesting, where basically none of this is real. If you feel me, because this whole episode is that the kids think that there's this mysterious man that is mailing romantic letters to Nicole and trying to steal her away. So the kids come up with a grand plot to get revenge on this guy. But the thing is, none of this actually happens because all the action actually happens in the heads of the kids. Because they are all standing in their bedroom, imagining and acting out the scenarios they imagine themselves in to save Nicole. But of course, in the end, it is revealed that there is no mysterious man. That is a skincare brand that she's referring to. And the foreshadowing was appropriate, where she was like, I don't want to get angry at you, so I don't wrinkle my face. And you know what? It's ads for retinol or. I just think this is such an interesting way to set up an episode where it's like, there is stuff that happens definitely. Like, there's like stakes and tension and conflict and all of that, but none of this is real. It's all imagined scenarios in their heads. And when and just when you think they're gonna go out to actually execute this plan, they then see the billboard for the skincare brand, and they're like, "Wait a minute, I think we were wrong." So I just think it's such an interesting way to set up this episode, because I think it kind of diverts the expectation. It's just like whatever crazy plan Gumball and Darwin come up with, they're just gonna roll with it, and then hijinks ensue. But with Anais there, we get a kind of different dynamic where she's like, wait a minute. We need to backtrack on this plan to ensure that it is foolproof. So then all the scenarios ensue where she's like trying to basically rewrite their plans as they happen. Even to the point where we have this bit where Gumball time travels back to him writing the email to him saying you can't write the body in the subject line. Because he's a 12-year-old. How is he supposed to know how to write an email? And he basically has a fight with his past self. It's kind of like Lesson 0 from My Little Pony, you know? When Twilight is arguing with her past self. Yeah, this feels like that. And I just think that's fun. Like, there's so many, like, fun things they do. Like, things happen as they describe them, like, as they're describing what Daniel Leonard could look like, and he just kind of materializes based on what they think. Like, this is just cool. It doesn't do anything particular to, like, really blow me away, like, anything above it. But I like it kind of in the same vein as The Authority, where it's like, I like this. Like, I really do. It's just, like, is it as interesting as anything above it? Because I do wonder. I think just to the audience, it's not plausible for Nicole to cheat on Richard. Because it is implied that there's some, like, that she's cheating on him, or going to cheat on him, or, like, this dude is trying to be a hallmarker, like, you know what I mean? I don't know how plausible that is to regular viewers, because it's like, would she do that? No. But to the kids, would that be believable because they're kids? Yes. So it works in that sense. But yeah, I do like this. I do. Okay, next we have The World. I knew this one was coming too, because this is the only episode where we focus on the inanimate objects. Woo, the inanimate objects of Elmore and what they got going on. like this is cute. It's fun. It's just like you can't make this interesting enough for me. I'm sorry. thing is, I don't think it's even meh, but it's at the end of good because it's like, it's basically they did the best with what they had, but it's like this type of concept just won't impress me enough. The thing is, for what they did, even though like this type of thing where it's like, I'm not a huge fan of like the episodes that like purposely divert away from the main characters to do something unexpected. I know there's like another, The Others. The episode The Others is in this. I like that episode more than this one because at least those are people that we see more than once. But I'm not always a fan of this type of style, but for what they did, I do like enjoy it. Because I'm going to tell you right now that if they didn't portray this as meta and melodramatic as they did, I would not care. Cuz this is so dramatic. I'm thinking specifically of the scene where the burger and fries are like reenacting war. Are slowly getting killed off in war when it's just Gumball eating his lunch. And I'm like, I like how dark some of this gets because I think it is self-aware that this is ridiculous, but it chooses to take itself seriously regardless of that, with that layer of irony on top of it. I am like that myself, so I rock with that, honestly, because that was my favorite scene from this episode. Because it feels like kind of like the tape, where it's like a bunch of different segments stringed together to form a larger narrative, but I simply prefer the tape a lot more because it's simply more interesting. And another like example of like this is kind of dark is when we open up with the light switch messing with the light bulb, and the light bulb fakes his death to make the light switch feel bad about messing with him, and the light switch is fully convinced that this dude's dead, but he's like, I'm just messing with you. It's like, oh, you're such a good roommate, and I'm just like, wow, that was pretty fun. I like the little bits they do. Like Darwin with the soda can was crazy. And like the table throwing itself out the window because of Gumball, it's just like, it's fun. And like the sequence with Daisy and Anais is really cute. But I just think there's more interesting stories than this. But this is like the only time they ever do this, so it's just like, oh, this is the one episode where we explore this topic. It's like, okay, that's fine. That is fine. It's cute. It's just not my favorite. But that's okay, because I still like it. Okay, finally is the finale. Oh my god. Okay. I was very familiar with this one, but upon looking back upon it, god damn. I didn't realize how good this was. I'm sorry to say, I didn't realize how good this was. Because I didn't watch this as this was airing. Because I jumped on the Gumball bandwagon about mid-season 4, so instead of watching Gumball Season 2 as it was airing, I was too busy, losing my mind over the My Little Pony Canterlot Wedding episode that aired around the same time this did. But I will say, if I watched this episode, like, as it was airing, like when it first came out, I think I would have lost my mind. I would have lost my mind, because this is so different from, like, anything we have gotten before it, and that is extremely intentional. Because this is the first episode that they seriously get meta with it. It's not saying they haven't gotten meta with it before, so I'm thinking specifically The Job. But this is the direct meta, acknowledging the state of the universe type shit that we're doing. Because this is the callback to end all callbacks, because it is revealed that while they think that everything they have done up to this point is completely fine, like everything's fine, we have done nothing wrong and we're living a happy life, but then they realize that the consequences of their actions actually exist and they have to pay for their crimes. Because basically, this is when the cartoon logic erodes. Because these characters are fully convinced they live in the cartoon logic world where nothing matters, everything resets after every adventure, nothing is lost, nothing is broke, everything will always be fine. They can always get themselves out of any situation. But this is proven that that is not true. Because they are then solely confronted by everyone in town that they have to pay for their crimes, because everything they did previously was very much real. So now they owe like millions of dollars in property damage and are convicted of crimes. And Gumball and Darwin have to restart school because, well, the whole time they were at school, they were never actually learning everything. We know how this rolls. And they are obviously freaking out because this is not normal. This is like devastating. Like their whole lives could be ruined if they don't figure this out. So no matter what they do, no matter how they try, even the deliberate attempts of the only thing we know how to do is make shit worse and then eventually it'll fix itself up, but even when that fails, they're like, fuck. We're cooked. Alan, we are so fucked. And then, of course it's fine. Like, of course it's fine. It's Gumball. Everything is going to be fine. Because the thing is, they are completely correct in their assertion that everything will go back to normal. It's like they are self-aware of that fact, but they are also not self-aware of that fact. Specifically with the ending scene of, I just hope there's a magic reset button so everything will go back to normal after this cutscene. End credits. And considering this was the season finale, I would have shat my pants if I saw this live, to be quite honest. Because I'm like, this is so crazy. Because again, this is the first time they've done something like this. They will do this in greater depths later, obviously. But this is the first time they really do it. It's not even involving Rob or anything like that. Well, Rob shows up to beat their ass with the angry mom, but, you know, we expect him to be there anyway. But this is the first time where we do something like this and I fuck with it heavy. I think it was just because I wasn't there to fully experience it, that's the reason why I haven't fully appreciated it until now. Because I think this is awesome. It's just crazy. And it's like on the edge of peak. Like, it's so close. It's so close. But I love this. It's so cool. Whew. Anyway, that's it. So we can safely say, at least by looking at this chart, that I really like season 2. Like, I just really do. It was such a joy to look back upon this so fondly. Because as we can see, we could do a lot worse than what we got going on here. Because if you have watched any of my other videos about ranking Gumball episodes, you should know that there's episodes I feel very strongly against, and we don't really have much of that here. The most we can say is that it's kind of lukewarm with something I don't like about it, and maybe some questionable outliers over here, but you know, it's not too bad. Like, as we can see, I really like a majority of this, and that makes me very happy, because season 2 is pretty nostalgic for me. That's what I grew up on, you know? I wasn't there to, like, see it live, but, like, they rerun a lot of season 2 episodes back in the day, so, yeah. This was fun, and I am so incredibly excited to move on to season 3, because that's what we're starting to get really into it. Oh my god, so stay tuned for that. As always, please let me know what you think down below, and don't roast me too hard. But I will see you guys next time. Bye!